WB Morning Circus, Will Payne.
Barry Diamond.
You guys just can't help yourself, can you?
And
Kelly
Orchard.
It's Kelly
This
Orchard
is my show now.
Sorry.
No, I love it. Radio people are all the same.
Let me get over here.
Let me get closer to the camera and the microphone over here.
You know, here's the problem. We're just a little uneasy being on this side of the microphone. It's not normal.
No, to be asked questions, right?
Yeah.
All right, so I just arrived at Payne Media Group in Hugo, Oklahoma for another Radio Is Not Dead podcast. Will Payne is the owner, obviously, Payne Media Group. I've done a little research. They have about 22 signals across a couple states. I've been listening to him on the way in. I heard Will on the air in the morning. It's been very fun. Took a little footage as I can. I have no idea what Will has in store for me today. I know he's very busy. This is a different version of a podcast because I don't have a long-time relationship with Will. We literally have had 1.5 phone calls, conversations, and we've participated in a couple of Zoom meetings over the past couple of years together. That's about the extent of it. So I am going to be very curious and inquisitive about the Payne Media Group here in Hugo, Oklahoma. I have no idea what we're going to do. Update on my travel adventure coming later, but there was a little glitch in my itinerary because I had a technical issue with the trailer. So I'm not actually staying in Hugo. I came through Hugo and then drove the trailer up to Cove, Arkansas, which is where my trailer is right now. So I told Will, I said, but I am not missing out this opportunity to see your station. So I am really excited to go inside and see Will and what we're going to be doing today for the next Radio Is Not Dead podcast. Join me, won't you? Come on in.
Come on in. Welcome to Payne Media Group. This is the K95.5, KITX, Kato 102.3, KMMY, KZDV, KQIK studio. So HD 94.7 also housed here. So we got the mowers here.
Yeah, we're a busy day, yes.
Very, very busy day here. So I'll give you the grand tour and I'll give you a little sneak peek of what we're doing and why we're doing it here in just a second. Welcome on into the main area. So we had one of our favorite bands of all time get back together, a band by the name of Cross Canadian Ragweed. So they sold out 4 shows, sold like 180,000 tickets at T-Boone Stadium. That's our tribute to the band here. All right, don't mind the mess. We'll tell you why in just a minute. Come on in here. This is what we call, it's the family room, so to speak. So this is our first station, KITX. It was in this building. And then I did a little history. So my grandfather got us in the radio business. And let's see if I can show you a good picture. This is it right here. So he was an Indian trial lawyer. And he represented the Sioux and the Cheyenne Arapaho. And when he was taking a little bit of time in between cases, he decided that he'd build himself a radio station. So in the 1950s, he built an AM radio station between Tulsa and Oklahoma City, and that got us in the radio business. His law practice picked up, so he went back to D.C. He sold that radio station. My dad was 12 years old at the time, was crushed because he fell in love with the radio business. But my grandfather argued before the Supreme Court. These are his certificates that he argued on behalf of the Sioux and the Cheyenne Arapaho tribe. Some of the memorabilia from him. And then for my dad, Bill Payne, Country Radio Broadcaster Hall of Famer, started on the air when he was 12 years old at my grandfather's radio station, and then went on to be a pioneer in Oklahoma, putting on one of the first FM radio stations in Oklahoma. So this room is kind of a tribute to the family. It just gives us a little bit of historical perspective. So come on in here. I'll let you meet a couple of the folks here. This is Barry Diamond. He does our morning show and afternoon show, K95.5. KYHD and KQIK, KNU. We call this the racing room, so to speak. We love sports. That's ESPN 105.1, our station out of Paris. And then we have all of our sports memorabilia and racing update as well. This is also called Master Control. So we have the ability to see all of the equipment for all 7 stations that are run out of this building. So next up is Lauren. Lauren does traffic. Lauren does programming. Lauren does just about everything.
Look at all these computers she's got to run.
Everything.
Holy cow.
Yeah, so all those computers don't normally live there. Matter of fact, just a few weeks ago, this was all completely remodeled and cleaned, and we had a flood. We flooded out 4 studios that we had to rebuild, and so that's why these next-gen machines are all here for the stations for each individual studio. So let's go in to.
I remember that old radio up there.
That's all you used to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we had the engineer in town, consultant engineer by the name of Richard Hardy, and he's rebuilding each one of these studios. So come on in here. So this is our tech center. After the flood, we just went ahead and cut this wall out and give us more room to work on the backside of the tech center. And let me show you what the studios are a work in progress.
Okay.
So studio number 1 is right here. New furniture, new Axia consoles, but as you can see, we are completely building
Under
from the ground up.
construction, yeah.
Yeah, so each one of these.
But this was due to a
studios-
flood. These were already built out before.
Oh yeah, we had to.
So you had to redo them, gut them,
because
and
of
everything.
Of the flooding, we had to get new carpet, had to get new furniture. Everything was completely ruined. New sheetrock, all of the above. Here's the next KQIK studio, and then over here will be the KMNY studio as well. Like I said, everything's in a complete mess as we're totally rebuilding the studio. Our wonderful spacious break room.
Nice. All right.
And then the final studio that's going to be rebuilt is back here as well. So let's go back into the back. Of course, when you're rebuilding studios, you got to put stuff everywhere. Come on back here. You can see where we're storing stuff for just a short period of time.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, it keeps going.
It does. It's very deceptive.
Yeah, so we just added on this area. This is where we do all of our green screens and stuff. So with all the studios in flux, all the equipment's everywhere. So come on in to the final room.
Hold on. I got to get these guitars.
Oh.
You're used to this stuff. I want to.
Yeah, there's so much everywhere.
I know. I want to capture it. When I was listening on the way in, you guys were like the morning circus.
Yes, morning circus.
And I didn't get it until I came into town and realized this is a circus town.
Yeah, so there's 3 circuses that used to winter here.
Yeah.
Carson and Barnes is the biggest circus.
Yeah.
Kelly Miller Circus was another one. Fun fact about this sign, I was actually on the side of the circus trailers that hauled the elephants around. And then there's a band by the name of Turnpike Troubadours who jumped the fence and took a picture in front of the sign for their Diamond and Gasoline album. So we grabbed it before it went to scrap.
Very cool.
So we're big race fans. We had 2015, we had Eddie Gossage, the general manager of Texas Motor Speedway, and Johnny Rutherford in the studio. So signed it, we put that on the wall. So here's where we do the morning circus. The only room that's not completely destroyed right now.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, so this is the studio that we'll do the interview with here.
Okay.
A little bit of everything.
I love it. You
Last
still have
CD wall.
last CD wall probably
Yeah,
in history.
yeah. We thought we'd build it big enough that obviously
Yeah.
we had a few leftovers. But yeah, just a little heritage. And a few more pieces of memorabilia.
Nice, nice. Okay.
WB Morning Circus, Will Payne.
Barry Diamond.
You guys just can't help yourself, can you?
And
Kelly
Orchard.
It's Kelly
This is
Orchard
my
show.
show now.
Sorry.
No, I love it. Radio people are all
Let
the
me get
same.
over here. Yeah, let me get over here.
Let me get closer to the camera and the microphone over here.
Here's the problem. We're just a little uneasy being on this side of the microphone.
Yeah.
It's not normal.
No, to be asked questions, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I got the tour of the studios, and you gave me some history on your grandfather and your dad, which I love. And then you've been here 25 years, and you guys have so much stuff in common, which is we've done this already. So it would be really hard to just say what's your favorite community event that you do, because you do so many and you've done them for so many years. But there must be something that is near and dear to your hearts.
Go, Barry.
Go, Will.
Yeah, I'm celebrating my 30th anniversary in the community, and it's going to be the Hugo PRCA Rodeo, May 30th and 31st. That was my first event that I ever did here in the community. I came and I was going to be here. I came and took a job with a guy by the name of Billy Perrin, who owned the radio station, and his daughter, Jackie Jo, had won the world in barrel like 76. And so rodeo was a big deal for him. And so he said, Will, you're going to the rodeo. And I did rodeo all through, I didn't rodeo, but I did rodeo live broadcast all through high school. And so my first time to be at the 30th annual PRCA Rodeo in Hugo, Oklahoma, it was 115 degrees outside with the van, the MARTA unit, and doing interviews with Freckles Brown, widow, and then Lane Frost's parents were my second interview, Clyde Nelson. That event really dear
Special
place
time.
in my heart.
Yeah. How about you?
It's kind of Will lives in one town, I live in another town, and we both come to another town to broadcast.
Okay.
So we don't even live
In the same communities.
Yeah, in the same community, but we're all part of all communities.
Right.
Because Will keeps you up to date with what's going on in Antlers. I keep you up to date what's going on in Paris. We meet in Hugo. We, are big in all three communities. So it's hard to do. Probably one of my favorite now is our annual car show that we do every year. And it's always fun because lots of cars are very, very instrumental and very vocal about their, but not about radio. So you don't hear the call. They won't listen unless Will's talking about the Pantera. If Will's talking about the Pantera, somebody's going to call in about that and then tell a story about his car. But if we're not talking about cars, we're not talking to these guys on the radio.
Right.
But when we get to the car show, oh, man.
They know you.
They know. And yes.
Yeah.
And so they can't wait. You're there.
Right.
Can't wait to talk to you about their cars. And so
Right.
it's fun just to walk up and down the aisle of cars.
Right.
Somebody,
Yeah.
hey, I want to talk about my car. So, man, we're over
Right.
there. Let's find out about this car.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of fun to meet people that you don't really see on the radio or talk to on the radio because they're not, maybe we're talking, if you write about a car, I mean, you just touch those people
Right.
from time to time. So the car show is a lot of fun. You get to talk to a lot of people that you almost
Right.
but you're,
Like a little
they're like your brother. See them,
Right, yeah. Well, car people are like RV people are like
Yeah.
boat people. You have this common interest, and
Right.
I always find they're very kind. They're very nice. They're very personable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. So you have, what is it, 22 signals? 28 signals?
So between my mother and I, which,
Okay.
that
Right.
dad and I've always, we were never in the business together. I always worked for him.
Okay.
But yeah, between my mother and I, we have 23 signals in Northeast Texas and Eastern Oklahoma. So that's AM, that's FM, that's translators, that's digital signals, all from Muskogee down to Paris, Texas.
So then the overall audience reach for all of these signals would cumulatively would be what? That's a lot.
Man, if you add them all up, you're probably close to 1 million people.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Very cool. So you say you and your mom, so your mom owns a different set of stations, or you and your mom own these stations together?
We're completely separate.
Completely separate.
Absolutely. She has all of my dad's stations.
Okay, and you got your own.
And then I have my own, absolutely. And then I purchased one of them from them.
Yeah. So does any of your family work with you, your wife, kids?
So, my wife is the CPA.
Okay,
So
well,
I work for her.
there, yeah, good. Good job, honey. That's what it should be.
So I have a 14-year-old, soon to be teen, in school. My daughter is an occupational therapist, and my oldest son lives in Kansas City.
So no on radio.
No.
And your wife's just CPA.
That's correct.
Yeah. So you get to run the show by yourself without any interference.
I like the way that. I mean, that's a nice feeling, isn't it, Barry? Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I never looked. I mean, you know what? I appreciate that perspective. I get to run the show. Yeah. I get to clean, I get to trash out.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Behave properly.
Well, you're right on cow property. Are those
around us?
yeah.
Right next to the. We call this the Fort Worth town.
Right. Okay. Well, what do you mean by that?
Fort Worth and Dallas.
Dallas,
Yes.
so Dallas is this row, right?
Right.
And then Fort Worth is Cowtown. That's where all the
Cowtown.
cows are.
Okay.
And the sale barn. So that's where we are.
We are on the
Fort Worth side
Fort
of
Worth
town.
side of
Fort
town.
Worth side of town.
That's why we have the hitching post out. You just
Yeah.
put your horse on it and come on in.
Yeah. Well, you had told me about this elephant
Yeah.
refuge or breeding. What is it?
Yeah, so it's the Endangered Ark Foundation.
Yeah.
And by far my favorite nonprofit organization. We like to help out as much as we can. But so there was a man in the community by the name of D.R. Miller. And when he passed away, he left his money to the elephants. And that began the Endangered Ark Foundation. And there are about 30 females and 2 males. And they're right here, Hugo, Oklahoma. They do so many fun events through the year. But it's super expensive to feed elephants. You think your dog food bill is something.
Right.
How about trying to feed an elephant? And then the veterinary bills, and they get pet care. Really, really take care of these animals. And the reason why it's so important to keep the Asian elephant pop going is we can't import Asian elephants anymore. So the only elephants that are here in the United States are the ones that are born here.
Okay. So now that I realize that this is a circus town, the elephants here make sense to me, but it may not even be related?
No. So what happened was D.R. Miller is the owner of the Carson Circus.
Right, okay.
And so
That's the sign you showed me
That's
out
right.
there.
Yep. And so these were his elephants
Right,
that
okay.
were in the circus.
Okay.
And one thing that we've learned over the and just being out there, and Barry, jump in at any time, is these elephants are A, incredibly smart, B, have great personalities, and C, love. So, I wouldn't know, but like, for example, when it comes to elephant tricks, they learn those from their aunts and their mom. And they're past, one sees another playing with a ball, and then the little one's playing with the ball. One plays the harmonica, and then the other one plays the harmonica. One paints a T-shirt, and the other one learns how to, and you see them with one arm, leg in the air. All of those tricks are just putting at that time, or the elephant trainer. He would just put what the tricks they knew in order, but a lot of times they learned it from their moms. So the 30 females, because those are the ones you see. The males, you don't see them in the public because they're just males.
They're too tired because they're taking care of the females.
I would like to say that, but they have way too much energy, and they're way too mischievous.
Got it.
And they would love to throw a rock at you.
Oh, okay.
And,
That's why they have to be kept away, because they're naughty.
Yes, absolutely. So females are fantastic, and if you've got food in your hand, oh my gosh, they're your best friend.
Oh.
They're just beautiful creatures, and they all have so different personalities, and that's what you've learned, Clea. And you can, and then after a while, you learn you can actually tell the difference, and you know what their name is. And I guess my favorite is Del Rita. It's probably my favorite. She's always so sweet. So anyway, so they do a great to take care of them, and the Endangered Art Foundation many times a year for different festivities. It's amazing. We'll make sure you get by there today.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
I must. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a beautiful thing, and they do the fall festival and a Christmas festival. We would have loved to have you down there because that was a lot of fun.
Well, the next time I come around, when we do the new and improved version of the podcast, right?
Yeah, I like that.
Whatever it's going to be.
2.0.
2.0.
Right.
I have a feeling I'll be doing this round trip. It's like, okay, now what are we doing? What else am I promoting here?
And there's always something to be done. Always something fun coming.
Oh, always. I know that. There's always some new crisis that occurs, some new fire you have to put out.
No, don't even say stuff like that.
Yeah. Pardon the pun. After a flood.
Don't say anything like that.
Yeah. Well, so how many staff do you have with all of your stations?
Okay, so that's a great. So in this building that you're at here, we have 3 full-time and a handful of part-time, depending on what time of year it is. Football season, basketball season, it really ramps up. Then we have a full office. We have at least 2 that work out of the Paris. And then up the eastern part of this is probably, Mom has the most staff up there. Probably, I think, close to 12 between Eufaula, Muskogee, Tahlequah that work up there. And then obviously we have contract engineers. And
is it hard to keep people to come back when they work seasonal, like the sports season? Or do they keep coming back, or do you have to constantly recruit new people?
I think we are always recruiting, but I think it goes in cycles. You'll have some that'll be with you for 5 years. You'll have some with you that 1 year, 2 years. Depends on if they the job and go somewhere else. Then you have that are with you for plus years. Over year in and year out. Yeah.
So, besides your favorite community of, what are some of the charitable organizations that you're involved with, like Board of
Barry Diamond, go right ahead.
Yeah.
I'm the what they call the exalted root of the Paris Elks Lodge, 2433.
Oh.
So this is year number 2 for me, and so I've been learning a lot of them. Before I was part of the director of Big Brothers Big Sister, and then it branched off to some other things, and we just help out people that come to town at a time that need help. Some of the missions we do Uncle D.
From Dukes of Hazzard
fishing tournament, yeah.
Uncle
Okay, yeah.
So he always wanted to do. He always to golf charities to help golf, but he was like, I don't golf. He says, I love to fish. Like, well,
let's
would
do a
you want to
fishing
fish with us? So we've done 37 years, I think. Now.
That is cool.
And so
his wife still attends when she can.
Tippy is there. She's been there the last 7 or 8 years.
Awesome.
There was one time where she got a little sick and couldn't show up, but yeah, last 7 or 8 years she comes and is there. And they raise the money, and then that money is divvied out between all the other organizations and help with that. I don't do anything with them. Then as the announcer, a couple of times when the announcer couldn't be there.
Oh, but Barry does the weigh-ins live on the radio, starting at noon.
Yeah, from noon to 3, you have to weigh in. We weigh in, probably anywhere between 50 and 60 anglers that are doing. There's like 277 to 300, depending on the year. And so that's a lot of fun. We enjoy doing that too.
That is so cool. I mean, I think this is what is fascinating for me is that every market that I'm going to go to, it's some completely different environment and activities that here is, because I don't know much about, but I know about,
Right.
In RV,
Yeah.
you're
learning. Yeah. Well, how about you, Will? What are you involved in?
Oh, locally, the Rotary Club, I was a 4-H'er from 9 to 19, and I specifically remember when I finished up my 4-H career and going to college, and then I got to college and in the working community, I was looking for something of that nature, and the Rotary Club became that. Always been a member of the Rotary, found a Rotary Club in Antlers, Oklahoma. I think I love the fact that, the 4-way test, the things we think, say, or do for the.
I'm Rotarian.
I love that service that we have. And then the other part of it is, being a member of the Rotary Club is, I've also found that Rotaries know where to eat. So if you look, if you're ever in a new community, whether it's in Guatemala or Montserrat or Canada, you can find out where the Rotary Club meets.
And that's going to be a good restaurant.
It's going to be an acceptable restaurant to eat at.
So where does your Rotary Club eat at?
We eat at Tips Sacred Grounds in Antlers, Oklahoma.
Tips Sacred Grounds in Oklahoma. Antlers, Oklahoma.
Yeah, great coffee shop, and then they have a great lunch. So.
All right.
Sure.
I love the CD wall. Have you not gone completely digital yet, or?
So when we built this room in 2013, that was supposed to be the last CD wall we were ever built, and obviously we didn't build it. But we're all digital.
Yeah.
We don't. It's become conversation piece.
Yeah.
We put stuff up there, and then now we go back. So Barry, think about some of the artists that come in. Yeah. That find a CD.
And it's interesting because we'll have an artist come in and we'll do the interview, and so then they want to see the CD wall. And
is there a record there?
So they will see if theirs
it's kind of nice to be able to touch and feel.
Yes.
Yeah, and see the picture and all of that. It's completely different thing. With my book, I could read it and digitize it and everything else and see it see the words. But once a copy came, was different.
Yeah. And it's kind of interesting because artists look and they'll spot something, they'll pull that. And go, I didn't even know they did that album, and so then they learn something too. As well. So it's interesting. Yeah,
it's kind of nostalgia.
Yeah. There's some independent cuts of it. Put that out prior to making it big. So it's up there on the wall.
Yeah. Do you have any local musicians that you promote on the air at all?
No, it's been a small, 30 years ago, a small market. We didn't ever have it. We didn't have any casinos at that time, so we didn't have any giant concerts coming to town, and so we kind of took it on. We pulled in us that maybe saw in college markets, brought while they were still affordable, that we could bring them to our community. And since then, we've always championed either local or regional, just because we knew we could get them in town.
Well, that's the heart of radio, isn't it? I think when I started doing my little tour and going to these radio stations, really when I said I want to come and visit you, I wasn't expecting to be on the air. So thank you.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys are going to start But remember when musicians, when they would cut a record, they would go radio station to radio station and ask the DJ to run to play their song, and that's how they got airplay.
And we still get that.
And you're doing that now.
Yeah, we still get that on with our Texas music that we use. The artists enjoy doing that.
Yeah.
And we do that so much with Nashville because they want to hit the big cities. They want to hit Dallas, LA, and those that come to Hugo, Oklahoma, or Paris, Texas, they're not going to come there. But our Texas Red Dirt artists, and so we treat them as we would if Garth Brooks stepped in or Clint Black or whatever. Yeah. We treat them the same. Make them whether it's their first single, we've known them for years. We treat them the same when they the big in town. And so the nice thing is with that, over the years we've got great workingships with those artists. So we're if we need something, we give them and we love to hear from them, and it's fun to bring them in town. But we also do that local artists. We've got Dakota Ragsdale. He just put out a new single. He says, "Can I come and see you?" And she said, "Yes,
absolutely."
So
we're trying to. He's also a working guy too. So the musician, is off to the side, but when you get time from your 9 to 5, come see us. And so we're setting that up to see him because he's just got a brand new single. So even with the local artists, it's the same as Texas Red Dirt artist or a Nashville artist if they can.
Throw in a little Dustin Perks there.
Yeah.
And then if you do enough of these, if you do enough interviews, with you're going to get lucky and you're going to have some people come through, go on and do well.
Right. Absolutely. Well, you're giving them a shot that they're not going to get anywhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes they remember you.
Sometimes they don't answer the call.
Yeah,
but
it's okay.
Oh,
That's okay.
man.
It happens.
Yeah,
It happens. It happens.
You know, I've only had very minor brushes with famous people in my career in radio, and I got to the point where it's like, no, I'm not even going to bother taking a selfie. They don't know me. They're not going to remember me, and who cares that I met them very briefly for a picture? Well, that's kind of where I got to that point.
It's interesting because you see that when an idol or voice every once in a while. I met you, about 3 years ago, and Blake goes, yeah, and you can tell on his face he didn't them, but
We're the elephant guys. Oh yeah, you got those.
Funny.
All right, so we get to go see elephants. What else can we go see? Anything?
Oh, Barry.
How many you guys?
It depends on how into rodeo you are.
Oh,
it's a rodeo community.
Yeah.
Yep, one of the greatest bull riders of all time, Freckles Brown.
Yeah.
Is buried here.
He rode Tornado.
But we also have someone.
Yeah, so when Lane Frost always said that he wanted to be in the shadow of Freckles, so he's right there in the shadow of Freckles Brown.
Lane Frost
All right.
is there too.
Well,
if you remember the movie 8 Seconds.
Yes, right.
Yeah, that's about Lane Frost.
Now I got to watch that movie again.
Absolutely.
Because now that if it makes sense and you have that something to relate for this.
Yeah.
But also out there we have when the people from the circus passed away, they have their own rest.
Showman's Rest.
Showman's Rest.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
so
if you can find it, do you remember Buster Brown?
Name, yeah.
Yeah, Buster
It was
Brown.
like shoes or something.
That's right. Yep. Floyd Ansley was his name, and he's buried there too.
Wow. This is a really cool town.
Thank you.
I mean, you have a lot of interesting history here.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I go to Kentucky, I might get to see a Tennessee Walker be born.
I was hoping to, but
Well, that's going to happen too. Yeah, I'm sure we're going to do
I
it.
want to see bourbon made.
Bourbon Trail and
Bourbon has been born.
yes, and then we'll see a Tennessee Walker, and then we'll do some cow tipping.
Yeah. And then I want to see the mature bourbon. Where's the really mature
stuff? Yeah.
Right. Well, let's go have a tour.
Fantastic.